Well, Sean Lennon here. Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast is happening once again. And right now we've got Alfonso Gonzalez, independent wrestler from Chicago. Make sure to check him out if you haven't already. Doing big shows like Freelance Wrestling, Freelance Underground, Second Pro Wrestling, Berwyn Championship Wrestling, and I'm sure there's many more that I haven't mentioned that are coming his way.
A lot more, but you're fine. You're fine. It's understandable. Very new. Everything's happening so fast too. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, we've seen you defeat Kylie Rae. You defeated Project Monix.
Yep.
Blair, Onyx, and of course with Kylie Rae again, a win over the Bang Bros. That was controversial, but you got it done.
I wouldn't call it controversial. I'd say we took advantage of our surroundings and everything that happened to be going on around us. But regardless, at the end of the day, like if we go back and we look at the results, it's just going to say Team Alfonso beat the Bang Bros. It's not going to say like, oh, there was an accidental chair shot and Pick and Pop ran in. Like, so all that matters is that we won. So it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. We got the victory. So
for sure. The record books say that. And next up, you're going to team with Kylie Rae to take on the Take It Home records for Freelance Tag Team Championship. March 18th. If you haven't been to a freelance show, this is the time to go. I feel like, a lot of fans need to check this out. It's called A Shift in Power. You can watch it on IWTV live. And, freelance is always posting everything on social media anyway. So, like, before I even started watching freelance, I found out about everything through the social media. Exactly. So, for sure. And so we appreciate you, Alfonso Gonzalez on PWE. And, talk about professional wrestling, man. How has it changed your life for the better?
It's changed my life in so many ways because, like, since I was young, like, I've always known this is what I wanted to do. And it was just a matter of, like, finally starting and, like, training at the Freelance Wrestling Academy. And honestly, like, everything happens so quickly that, like, it's kind of hard to, like, stop and realize, like, everything I've been able to accomplish through my trainers and my peers. So I don't know. It's like something that's always been a part of my family too. Like, my dad loved it. My older brothers loved it. And I think I ended up loving it the most because I'm the one that ended up pursuing this, and actually, like, doing it. So, I mean, it's only changed my life for the better, for sure.
Were you a big John Cena fan growing up? Yeah. Gotta ask.
I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie to you. But to be fair, like, I kind of liked everybody. Like, I would find, like, good qualities in, like, all the wrestlers and then pick what I liked from them and see if it could apply to me now. Like, what drew me to certain wrestlers, whether it be like their gear, their moveset, like their attitude, the way they would talk. So, I mean, I was kind of like a fan of everybody, but obviously still had my favorites too. So
for sure, we all do. And I mean, you came in relatively unknown in 2021, see you on the main card. I think you probably did the pre-show matches before then, right?
No, I mean, no, not at Freelance. Well, my first match was actually a crazy story. I was helping out at a Zello Pro in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And I was just going there to help set up the ring, watch the show, do whatever. And my trainer, he comes up to me. He's like, "Do you have your gear?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "You think you can go 5 minutes with Hornswoggle?" I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, why not? He's like, "All right, we'll find you gear." So, Chicago legend Chico Suave lent me his gear, and it was about like 3 sizes too small and everything. Oh, wow. So I was able to have my first match there against Hornswoggle, which is like another example of things happening so fast, like not really getting to like slow down and appreciate the things happening around me. But from there, I know I got booked on the Scramble match, I believe in the September show last year. But before that, due to people either getting sick or not being able to show up, I was put on Freelance Underground. I know myself and Danger Mask wrestled the Brothers of Funstruction, like a very last minute match. And at the No Place Like Home at the Collective or the Windy City Summit, I was put in a 6-man tag there as well.
Yeah, definitely. With Billy Starks and I believe Marcus Mathern.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Yeah, against the Bang Bros and Castro. But so, the Bang Bros, they got lucky there. They barely beat me. It took 3 of them to beat me, but it doesn't matter because I was able to beat them a couple weeks ago. So
definitely. I mean, that's a big year that you had, definitely. And so you came in the Zello Pro. I assume that was like 2020.
That was 2021, I believe.
Oh, it was. Okay.
And August 1st, I believe. It was just under, I think, a year since I started training, because I think I started around, August 17th, 2020, which, by the way, like almost like a terrible time to start training, because like you look at the world, everything's shut down. There were no shows going on, but it's kind of like a blessing in disguise because, of course, at the Freelance Wrestling Academy, we have so many trainers that are so talented. Like they're wrestling all over the place. And during the shutdown, since they all live near Chicago, they were able to like be at the school more often. And me personally, I would like try to take advantage of every day I can show up to training, either, work hard in the ring or pick their brains, because like, I know once like the world starts, they're going to start like wrestling a lot more. They're not going to be at the school as much. So it kind of ended up being a blessing in disguise starting in 2020, starting training, that is. And so far it's worked out pretty well. So
nice. And who got you involved with the freelance? Like, how did you find out about the school and everything?
I found out because I followed the page for Freelance on Instagram, and I remember they would always like post ads like for the academy, and I knew I wanted to, and like you just look at like the Freelance roster and it kind of speaks for itself. And then you find out like how many of those people in the roster were students before, like like you have like Davey Bang, August Matthews, Trevor Outlaw, until he got kicked out. And, all these people that, I became fans of, and you find out they come from this school. So eventually I just hit up the school. And then I started in, August 2020.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a crazy time to be doing it. But, like you said, you knew that things would come back and there would be opportunities. And that's great that you had your first match within a year of training.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a goal I set for myself, not from the start. I like to set goals for myself that are kind of like attainable, like not set up big goals like, oh, I want to like main event in front of 30,000 people, like stuff like that, like stuff that can happen like just like within the first day of training. Like you learn roles and running the ropes, like, oh, I want to be able to run the ropes for like a minute without getting gassed, stuff like that. And then like once I knock that off, I find something a little harder and harder. And over time, as like training went on, I kind of like asked one of my trainers, I'm like, you think it would be a realistic goal to like be able to have a match within a year? And he told me absolutely.
Definitely. That's great, man. Congrats. And how do you approach your matches? What do you think fans take from each performance, and anything you feel like you could do to mix it up, each time you go out there?
I mean, honestly, like the way I see it is all my opponents are like so much weaker than me, whether it be physically or mentally, that I don't have to exert myself like at all that hard. I can either pick at their brain and get them like so pissed off that it's easy to take advantage of them physically. Or, because the Team Alfonso Dojo, we have like years and years of history that I came up with myself, of ways to beat people from all different fighting backgrounds. So, it's pretty simple, but for the most part, it's like you look at one thing I like to do. I'll give you a little cheat sheet, because I like you, a little secret is I'll look at somebody's finisher, and more than likely they need one of their body parts to actually use it. So that can kind of be a target. Like Davey Bang, I know he likes to springboard a lot. Maybe go after his legs, He doesn't have his legs, he can't jump.
For sure. I mean, I think that's the great thing about wrestling is being versatile, for any kind of offense.
Exactly. Yeah.
And your relationship with the freelance fans, you mentioned Team Alfonso, has been growing. So why do you feel you've endeared yourself to them in the past few months?
I mean, I don't know if I have a relationship with them as much as they're obsessed with like joining the team, because they realize now it's at like an all-time high in regards to members with myself and Kylie Rae. So I think they see that it's so exclusive that for the longest time it was just me. And then now that I've allowed Kylie to join, you know, people are realizing like, oh, they're only taking like top tier people, and it's very hard for people to join. So all the people that were booing me when I beat Kylie clean in the center of the ring, now that I allow her on the team, they're like hitting me up like, oh, how do I join? How do I join? Like, where do I sign up? I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Yeah.
And you were the only male participant in the Shelance Scramble. Now that was in November. Yeah.
You know, looking back on that, I feel like they need to go online and change the results, because I got low blowed, and technically that's a disqualification, right? So technically I won the Shelance Scramble, which, I mean, you know, so that just adds to my undefeated streak that's been going on, you know, at Freelance. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I won that one. I had nothing but nice things to say to all those ladies. I don't know why they decided to attack me from behind like a bunch of cowards, but it is what it is.
Definitely. But you entered that match with all those women who are established stars. So how much do you think that opportunity elevated you?
Definitely a lot, because it was also my first time using a mic in front of a crowd.
Okay.
I like a lot of things like in wrestling. I don't like to think out too much, because all it takes is one thing to go wrong, and then like all the plans you had go out the window. So I kind of just feel it out. But for sure, yeah, you had a ton of people in there. You had Blair, Onyx, Laney Luck, Kylie, you had a bunch of people. And just looking at them, like, once I may have been a little nervous before, because they are, like you said, they are big names. But once I get in there and I see them, I'm like, oh, you guys are just weak and pathetic. I'm like, this is going to be easy. Yeah.
Definitely. And, you know, talk about Trevor Outlaw, Matt Nix.
Yeah.
Do you have a side you're going to take, or are you staying out of it?
You know, it's so clear if you've like seen like what's been going on recently, whether it be on social media or even at the shows, that I don't even know why anybody would pick any other side besides this. But Trevor Outlaw is clearly in the right, because like he was just going out there and he was just singing happy birthday to Matt Nix. And then I think Matt Nix put some like Vaseline on the apron or something that caused Trevor to slip and re-tear his like ACL, which by the way, actually wasn't even re-torn. It got torn a long time ago. He got it fixed, and it had actually been torn for months prior. So in the time his ACL was torn, he beat the only two-time freelance champions, Isaiah and Kylie, and he beat Danhausen SLO Pro. He beat all these names with a torn ACL, and people still have the audacity to boo him. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, he's an honorable man, you know, in my opinion, because you could say whatever you want about his attitude or whatever, but you can't deny, like, he gets results. Like, he wins these big matches and every opportunity he gets. So that's the way I look at it. People are soft and they'll get taken aback by like the things he says or posts on Twitter. And I don't know, like, say what you want. He wins. Yeah,
definitely. Can't wait to see him come back. And it's always fun to see him.
He's a great dude. Yeah. He's so good. So handsome too. Like, oh man.
Yeah, that beard is, you know.
Exactly. I'm jealous. I can't grow one. Like, I could grow it on the neck and like that's it. And then, and I just look terrible. I can't.
For sure. And he's definitely endeared himself to the fans, as we've seen, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know what? He doesn't let what the fans say get to him, you know. Yeah. That's what I love about him.
And talk about the Emporium Flawless Victory event. Now, that had to be a blast, you know.
Oh man, so much fun. So much fun. Like, seeing all these nerds and losers hanging out in an arcade on a Thursday night, like, you know, it's kind of sad and pathetic. But the fact that like they decided to side with Blair over me kind of shocked me, because, you know, like me, you know, Team Alfonso, I'm kind of like a living video game character almost, you know, because I'm so freaking awesome and amazing. And Blair had to use her like demonic sorcery to like scare me a little bit. But after a while, I realized, I'm like, oh no, she's not too scary. I found the holes in her games. I picked out all of 8 of her legs, and I made her tap regardless. So
definitely.
But yeah, that was a blast. Sick venue, great crowd. Yeah, I hope we come back there again, because it was really fun.
For sure. And I think that's what freelance is about, trying different things, trying new things, you know, whether it be like, you know, what they did with the, I think did you get a chance to participate in that when they did the Freelance Academy shows down the loop?
I know, well, no, I was going to be in one, but it got rained out.
Okay.
Because it was outdoors. So that was a bummer. That was actually going to be my first time in the ring.
Okay.
It was going to be a battle royal, which is just like kind of get experience, out in front of a crowd, working in front of a live audience, to see how we react. But yeah, it ended up getting rained out. But it was a good lesson to have, I think, because like you get your expectations built up for something, but in wrestling, everything can change just like that. Mm-hmm. So it kind of taught me to be on my toes, because last second things can change, and you never know how it can affect you, and you just got to be ready.
For sure. And you're going to be ready for Shane Mercer, because that was announced earlier. Freelance Underground. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not that big. He's not that strong. I'm stronger. I'm taller, faster, better. So it should be easy work, honestly. Does he call himself the Iron Demon? Mm-hmm. Pathetic. It's going to be easy work. Oh my gosh. like all you have to say is does he have a black belt? No. Do I? Yeah.
For sure. He does like to levitate, stands and bleacher sections.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's using some of that demonic sorcery that Blair was using at Emporium. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem human.
I mean, when you go back and look at that match with Craig Mitchell, that was a barn burner. So you think we'll get to see a different side of you in that one?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Every opponent's different. You got to approach every match differently. You can't go in with the same game plan, the same moves, because otherwise people are going to remember. They're going to take note of that. And then they're going to ultimately pick at all those weaknesses you show in your game. So you always have to mix it up and keep it different. For him, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve for sure.
And who do you want to wrestle and cross off your list?
Ooh, man. There's so many that already I've been fortunate enough to have like Hornswoggle for a first match. That's something I never thought could happen. So when it did happen, I'm like, man, it seems like almost anything can happen. When Pat or Project Monix was going to retire, and that match was also last second because I was supposed to be in the scramble in that show in October. And then they told me, Project Monix wants to have a singles match. Do you want to do it? I'm like, all right. So I did it. And I beat him so bad that he had to cancel his retirement because he couldn't live with himself after losing me. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And then another one I did want to have was with Kylie. And then after I beat her clean in the center of the ring, I'm like, man, who's next? I don't know. But if I had to pick one name right now, I've already beaten one 2-time freelance champion. I think it would be nice if I beat the other 2-time freelance champion. If I could wrestle Isaiah Velasquez, that would be great. Yeah. If I could just humiliate him, beat him, show him that the student is a teacher now, I feel like that would be really fun. It'll be a great time for sure.
Yeah, that's a fun matchup. And Isaiah is he's done it all in freelance.
Yeah, exactly. Respect where it's due. He's done a lot in freelance and a lot for freelance, whether it be all the work he's doing at the academy, helping out all these students. He's almost there nonstop. He's done a lot. So respect him for that. If I had to pick any, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say a lot of people say you should already be on the Impact Wrestling roster and should have bigger shows,
Yeah, for sure. There's if I had to pick any other ones, maybe some fellow students I'd like to wrestle. Saban Gage, I can't stand that dude. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's got really small quads, they're really weak. So that would be my target. And he also likes to jump around like an idiot, so that would be fun. Not a dream match, but when Trevor Outlaw is cleared to return, I'd like to tag team with him. I think we could dominate the tag division too. Mm-hmm. Maybe get him in my team. But if he's not cool with that, it's all good as long as we can work together,
For sure. How about Sky Blue? Because she's a Chicago legend like Kylie Rae. You took out one Chicago legend. And
yeah, I mean, why not? She's been showing up more at Underground. You know, I'm me. I'm ready to take on whoever they throw at me. I think that would be a fun one too. What is she, 3'6"? I think that would be pretty simple, pretty easy to do.
She might surprise you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe.
Your thoughts on Kylie Rae, your tag team partner? I mean, she's such a wonderful person, very experienced in the game. She is, really endeared herself to the fans worldwide.
Yeah, everything you said was true at a point, but just looking at the freelance show since we've returned, since this shutdown and pandemic, if you look at her run, she really wasn't doing that well for herself. She lost to Trevor Outlaw and Frank the Clown, and one of those guys isn't even a wrestler. And then she lost the Shelance Scramble that I should have won because I got low blowed, and that's disqualification. She just like loss after loss. She even lost to me. Like, I didn't want to have to make an example out of her, but like I said, when you put an opportunity in front of me, I'm going to seize it and do the best I can. So after that, like, you know, I kind of felt bad for her. Like, that's why I gave her the opportunity to tag with me. Cause I'm like, you know, I keep getting all these victories. I'm like, it was almost like a charitable act, you know, cause I know I'm going to beat the Bang Bros. I might as well bring her along with me. And in the end, I am the reason we won that match. I laid out Davey Bang. She was still the legal person, so I had to drag her lifeless corpse on top of him and wake up Perch, and we got the victory. So
yeah, definitely. I mean,
and she's annoying. She's super annoying. Like, she always smiles for some reason. Like that's gotta hurt. Like, how do you not have a headache like nonstop from just I don't get that.
Yeah. And she's one of my favorites, so I'm partial to her, man.
For sure.
You know, one of the ones that definitely got me into freelance and the whole independent, you know, Chicago wrestling.
For sure, like you said, credit where credit's due. She's done a great job in the past, but like I'm just saying, like this past year, you know, she's seeming a bit like a shell of her former self until I came along, you know, and helped her out.
Definitely. Now, what's your thoughts on the Batman? The Batman. Did you see it?
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's a thing. Like, I used to try and watch these like movies like the day they come out because, you know, I like hate spoilers and I hate people getting spoiled for me. But like, it's like literally because of wrestling, I've been so busy I haven't been able to. As I try to go to training as much as I can, whether it be 4 or 5 times a week. Try to get better nonstop. Sure. And then on top of that, just like working. Just actually working or going to shows, helping out, like so much is always going on that. And I also kind of like live in the middle of nowhere, undisclosed location, you know, where the Team Alfonso dojo is, because, you know, we like to stay secluded so people aren't bombarding us all the time, you know, trying to break in or whatever. So I'm like kind of far away, like from the city, from the academy and everything. So like just driving from here to shows everywhere, like takes up a lot of time too. So no, but I've been wanting to watch it. Well, I'll tell you who my favorite Batman is. It's probably got to be Christian Bale, probably because those are the movies I grew up with. But there's like things I can find in every Batman that I do like. Maybe not George Clooney. Like, I mean, at least it's funny, you know. But yeah, Christian Bale for sure. Like, those are the movies of my childhood, you know. So
definitely, I'm with you on that. I'll have to get your thoughts on it when you've seen it. We'll have to
for sure. Once I watch it, if you're at a show, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, I'll even get your thoughts on a podcast in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then talk about Ali. Now you have a chance to train with him. He wants to be out of the WWE. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts are kind of with everybody else. Like, he's made it clear what he wants. I wish the company would kind of respect that and, you know, release him, you know, give him what he wants, because at the end of the day, you know, he just wants to tell his story, which is understandable. Like, you know, like that's how, you know, he like has true passion for this. Like, he's not in it for just like a paycheck or whatever. Yes. Like, you know, he actually does care. And when he shows up to training, like, you can definitely tell, like, he has a passion for teaching as well. He's a very good teacher. He'll be honest with you, which is, I think, the best attribute a trainer can have. Instead of just lying and kind of blowing smoke, you know, to make you feel good, he'll be completely honest and like tell you like, this sucked, this is why. And then if something is good, he just won't tell you anything, which is even better. Definitely. Yeah, hopefully we get a chance to see him in the freelance world or independent wrestling in general. I'm sure he would do like all the major promotions if he had the chance. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think any promotion would be stupid to try not to get him. Like, he's so talented, so good in the ring. Like, I've done a few training videos with him where he's gotten kind of lucky and barely made me tap out. Like, whether the light like flashed in my eyes or something, or he poked my eyes when the camera wasn't looking, you know. But yeah, all the takes where I beat him, he never uploads for some reason. It's weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, you'll have to release those one day.
somehow.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe on the dark web or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure you've had
Take my word.
Yeah, some fun stuff with him, fun training, and I'm sure you'd like to get in the ring with him and get that big victory.
Yeah, that would be another great name to add to the list of people that fell to me. People that I laid out. That'd be another good one.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about Warrior Wrestling. You've been a part of it, doing backstage work and stuff. But how would you like to step into Warrior Wrestling ring? I would love to see you and Kylie versus Thunder Rosa and a partner. Maybe Thunder Rosa's son. How about that?
That'd be great.
Her son's wrestling, and I mean, I assume like you guys are close to the same age. And
yeah, I hate children, so I think that would be fun to kind of like be able to legally, like dominate and destroy a child. But for sure, any company that hits me up, more than likely, like I'll give them a shot. Warrior, they've been doing some really good work. I've been helping out at, I think, almost like every show they've been running. They run a tight ship and they do really good work there for sure. So,
yes.
And even if I'm not on the show, like try and find me personally, like as a student, I try and find things I could learn from, like whether it be watching some matches with like a trainer that's there and like having them like break down like things you should do and shouldn't do. Like seeing how the show is run too, you're always learning and you always can be learning. I think that's one thing that's helped me out for sure.
Do you feel like the promoter of Warrior Wrestling, if you could rewind the clock back, right? And we had that match with you and Kylie against the Bang Bros back in January when it's supposed to happen, right? Because of COVID restrictions. You got that victory over the Bang Bros. That you would have gotten the call to fight Silas Young instead of Davey Bang. Do you ever think of that in the back of your head?
Oh man. Yeah, Principal Steve, he I'm sure like originally, because it was supposed to be Silas and Brian Pillman, I believe. Mm-hmm. My guess is that even if the match happened, they'd watch it and be like, yeah, the Davey Bang guy is really weak. Let's give him to Silas regardless,
Okay.
They probably wanted Silas, to humiliate somebody. And they looked at, if they saw me, they'd be like, no, this guy's too good. He's going to like make quick work of Silas. So we can't do that, So I think regardless, it would have been Davey. And then August is, August is too dangerous too. He's too good.
Definitely. Talk about what's next for you. Like what shows are you excited to announce?
Well, it was just announced today, Freelance Underground returning to Joliet, that I'll be wrestling Shane Mercer. So that's going to be a big one. I'm wrestling another fellow student, Coda Hernandez, in Minnesota tomorrow. When this airs, I don't know when it'll have been, for AWF. And then, of course, I'm looking forward to hanging up the freelance tag titles in the Team Alfonso dojo. I mean, if the Take It Home Wreckers can even find them, because I think 9 people have stolen the titles by now. Yeah. So we have no idea where they even are. Like, if I were them, I would have put trackers on them, so I'd like know where they are at all times. I don't know what's going on. But regardless, once we beat them, or I should say once I beat them, I'm looking forward to hanging up those belts in the dojo.
Cool. You got a busy lineup. Very busy.
Yeah, super, super grateful for everything that's come, from wrestling. Got to make the most of it too.
I feel like at the end of the day, for you guys who are wrestlers, the goal is always to see smiles on the fans after the end of each show. So how do you feel you're able to do that?
It's funny because I'll make the audience really hate me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a better feeling than making them like me, because regardless, at the end of the day, like no matter how much they boo or, like give me the finger or whatever in the crowd, once the show's over, they come up to me and they're all happy. I'm like, make up your mind. Like, do you like me or don't you? I see right through that. But no, it's a great feeling to control these people, in the palm of my hand. It shows how like weak they are mentally, that it's so easy to manipulate all this, all these people in the crowd, and it's a blast.
Definitely. And what's your inspiration? Because how is the character Alfonso Gonzalez? How is it similar or different to the real life persona?
Very much so. I describe it as like a cartoon character, kind of almost like, not a cartoon character, but very animated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Once I go out that curtain, I do not care what anybody thinks about me at all. I can yell out things and I'll have no idea what they mean, but in the moment, I like believe it. So, you know, it's kind of just like a feeling thing, you know, you feel it out there. But in regards to inspiration, you know, I don't know. I've always liked characters that are kind of like not cool, like in whether it be in shows or movies, but in their eyes, they think they're like the coolest person ever.
Right.
Like Napoleon Dynamite, like Uncle Rico.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is like, he's like a deadbeat loser, but in his eyes, he's like still holding on to like his glory years, and he thinks he's like still could be a pro football player and like stuff like that, or people like that, or Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Like he still thinks everything like from the 80s is still like cool and hip in like 2020, and it's, you know, it's not really, but he believes it. So, and it's almost infectious, like what he believes or what these characters like believe. Like after a while you start thinking like, yeah, that is pretty cool. And then if you like take some time to realize, like you like step back, you're like, oh yeah, maybe it's not.
How do you feel about a fan wearing your merchandise? One day I'll give you a chance to plug your merchandise. I don't know if you have any, but
you know, no, yeah, I'm for sure working on it, but my only fear is that like a bunch of losers might buy it, and then when they're in the street like getting beat up or whatever, and they have like the Team Alfonso name on it, it might make my brand, you know, my dojo look bad. So that's my only fear, but it's definitely coming sooner for sure. So yeah, keep your eye out.
Yeah, one of those headbands would be.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't know if you noticed, but Kylie actually, I gave her one when we tagged, you know, because she's part of the team, and she wore it like a dog collar, like an idiot. Like she didn't even know how to put that on. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, she marches to the beat of her own drum. I think, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's on her own planet.
But we still love her anyway. And I appreciate you again, Alfonso, being on Pro Wrestling Enforcer. You know, best of luck in all your upcoming shows. You know, if you want to plug your social media, go ahead. I'm sure it's growing. And also, anything you want to say out there to the fans?
Come to Freelance next Friday. See myself and Kylie, mostly myself, win the tag team titles. Watch me mop the floor with Shane Mercer at Underground. Follow me on Instagram at @thealfonso_G, all lowercase, and then on Twitter, just @thealfonsoG. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. I'm looking to get more of the heels at Freelance. So I think
for sure. You know, I wouldn't even call myself a heel. You know, I would just say, you know, I keep it real, and then people just don't like how it is. So.
Well, I was gonna say also GPA. You know, looking to get him on.
Yeah, for sure. That dork. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Hey, I appreciate you being on PWE. Everybody, check out Alfonso Gonzalez at the upcoming Freelance event, A Shift in Power, Freelance Underground, which is going to be the next day on the 22nd.
Yes.
Actually, the 19th. Actually, the 19th. 18th is Freelance, and appreciate you again being on the PWE show, and best luck to you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Anytime.